North Memphis, Bay Area, laid back hardcore music.
Welcome to the goddamn channel. I got another special guest in the building. I'll better put some respect on her name. Founder of Rap Coalition, Wendy Day. How are you, Wendy?
I am awesome. Thank you for having me. How have you been?
I've been good. I'm just trying to beat this Memphis heat because it's 110. 110.
Too hot. Yep, too hot.
It is. It's really hot. Wendy, for those that don't know you, if you would, please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Wendy Day. I run a not-for-profit organization called Rap Coalition. I started it in 1992 to help pull artists out of bad deals. And then I also run the for-profit company called Power Moves. And Power Moves is a company that helps artists who have investors already on board. We help them put out their music and make money with their music. So basically, provided somebody has a budget and has an investor to help them build their independent record label or their career, we step in and we build millionaires.
Wow. You know what, Wendy? It's a lot of people that don't know you. But
correct. It's because we don't advertise.
Yeah. Because you know what? You've made such an impact in the game, but it's a lot of people that don't know you. I'm going to tell you when I found out about you. I believe it was 2008, and I purchased your book, How to Get a Record Deal. And
yes.
After reading that book, I quickly realized that I didn't want a record deal anymore, you know?
Right.
So what I did was I focused more on my music production and I stayed independent. So with that being said,
smart.
What are your thoughts on major versus indies?
You know, I think that they all have their benefits and their, the pluses and minuses.
Mm-hmm.
I think a major label, if you want to become a superstar and you've got the talent and you've got the ability to thrive within a major record label, mm-hmm. I think they're great. I think if you're an artist that just wants to make money with your music and you want to feed your family and you don't want to give up ownership or control, I think being indie is great. And I make a comparison. It's funny, I make it in the book that you mentioned. I make a comparison that the major label system is like an ocean liner. It's like a cruise ship. Mm-hmm. And an independent record label is like a jet ski. Mm-hmm. And they both have their place in the ocean. You wouldn't want to go on a jet ski, to London. That's but right. Then on the flip side, if you're going to put out music and you want to be able to bob and weave, you can't do that on a cruise ship. They're so big, they take a really wide turn and they take a really long time to move forward. That's they're right. Very slow moving, but they're solid and they're sturdy, like a major label.
So to date, how many books have you written, like as of today?
I've written that book. I've actually updated it once. I'm doing the second update of it now. And then I've got a new book coming out probably in the beginning of 2023. I've been writing it for years. Mm-hmm. And I'm embarrassed to tell you that every time it's almost finished, the industry changes and I'm back to starting all over. I had it almost completed at Christmas this year. And then the importance of TikTok took off. Mm-hmm. And here in my company, we changed the way we do business. Half of my staff now is based in content because content is so important to today's artist. Definitely. So it's what I need to do is instead of writing a book, I need to build a website so that I can go in and change it, sort of like the way Kanye does albums, right? Go in and update it constantly as things change because it really changes fast.
It does. And just what I was speaking about earlier, I purchased your book in 2008. And since 2008 to now, totally different.
Totally different.
So it's like you have to change with the wave or whatever.
Exactly. I have to update the book like every 4 or 5 years because so much change happens.
Mm-hmm. Especially with social media or whatever.
Yes.
Feel free to brag a little bit about some of the negotiations you've made with big name artists? Because like I said earlier,
It's so
a
hard for
lot
me
of
to do
people
that,
do
but
not, they don't know. A lot of people just don't
yeah.
know you.
Yeah. I don't mind that people don't know me. I'm not doing this to become famous
Mhm.
or, 99% of artists I can't help because they don't have the understanding of what it takes to succeed in music and they don't have the money that it takes. It's a really expensive industry. So I find that when I speak or write, it makes a lot of people come at me like, oh, help me, help me, help me. And I really can't. And I hate telling people that I can't help them. So I just kind of stay quiet most of the time.
Yeah.
But the first deal that I was involved with was Master P's deal at Priority. That was a really great deal because he was able to retain ownership of his masters and his publishing, which really matters. And then I went on from there to do Twista's joint venture at Atlantic Records, Eminem's deal at Interscope, the Cash Money deal at Universal. That was a really cool deal because it was a distribution deal where they had a 3-year contract with Universal, but once that contract was up, if they wanted to leave, they could, and they would be able to take the artists with them. And that's kind of unheard of. So that $30 million deal got a lot of press. There was a lot of chatter in the industry about that deal. I went on to do David Banner's deal at Universal. I helped Trouble get his deal at Interscope. I negotiated Girl Code's deal at 300 about this time last year. And right now I'm shopping some deals for some other artists that have incredible leverage in the music industry. That's really the thing that ties everything together that I've done is I've worked with artists that have leverage, meaning they've proven to the labels that they can make money on their own. And now they're just looking for a financially feasible situation or a partnership where they can make the kind of money that they're worth. And those are the deals that matter to me. Like just getting an artist signed to a record label where they sit and never come out. That's not my goal. I don't do this to make money doing deals. I do this to build successful artists.
Yeah, definitely. So will you say that it's really important that artists understand things like, simple things like copyrights, masters, publishing, etc.?
Yeah, it's important that they understand everything. It's sort of like if you were going to be an NBA player, would you step on the basketball court not knowing how to play basketball? You need to know the game in order to succeed. And people, they look in at the music industry and think it's easy. They think they just make music and upload it to, TuneCore or DistroKid and then sit back and because it's great, it'll move. And that's not how it works at all. So a lot of people get really disappointed when they put music out. And it's kind of sad too, because there are people that aren't succeeding, not because their music isn't good, but because they don't know how to market and promote it, or they don't have the money to invest into it. And they leave the industry thinking, I wasn't good enough, and it has nothing to do with being good enough.
That's right. Well, let me ask you this, Wendy. Can you give a brief synopsis of the two sides of copyright?
I can try to. You mean for publishing, the two sides of publishing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So there's the writer share and then there's the publisher share. So if you're an artist and you're creating a song, as soon as you put pen to paper or you type it into your phone or however you choose to make music, or you make a beat on your equipment, you own the publishing, the ownership of that song. The writer share is either the written lyrics or the underlying beat. So there's two different kinds of ownerships in music. And as an artist, when you create a song, you own, if you make the beat and you write your own lyrics, you own 100% of that song. You own 100% of the writer's share and 100% of the publisher share, meaning 100% of the song. And it gets a little confusing because when you own the writer's share and the publishing share 100%, a lot of people think, well, that's 200%.
Yeah.
But there really isn't 200% of a song. There's only 100% of anything. And when you own the writer's share 100% and you own the publishing 100%, it means you own 100% of the song. If you and I write a song together, let's say I make the beat and you write the lyrics, then you own 50% and I own 50%, but we each own 100% of what we brought to the table. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I try to explain. I've been studying that for quite some time myself.
It's not easy.
It's kind of difficult in the beginning stages, but as I started studying, it became fun to me. And also what I want you to share your knowledge on is like the sound recording, because a lot of artists get the publishing.
That's the masters. Yes.
Yeah.
The sound recording, and that's where copyright comes in. Copyright is the ownership of the master recording. So when you have a song, you've got the lyrics, you've got the beat, and then you've got the actual rights to reproduce that. And when you own those rights, they're called masters. When you own those sound recording rights, it gives you the opportunity to either upload it to Spotify or burn CDs with it or make vinyl with it or whatever you want to do. But it's the sound recording, the master rights, that give the record company the right to put the music out into the marketplace.
Definitely. That's another thing I wanted to ask you, Miss Wendy. How long, well, before I get to this, I know you're a hip hop head. Let me ask you something. Who are your 3 favorite lyrical artists? I got to ask you this.
Yes. Razkaz for sure.
Ooh,
I think he's just super duper lyrical. I love him a lot. And I really like the first 2 albums from Jeezy. I still listen to them. I think they're amazing.
Okay.
Wow, and I have to pick a 3rd lyricist, and there's so many to choose from.
It is.
And there's so many great ones, you know. I think right now I've been listening a lot to a group called Ugly Face. They're my clients, so it's a little self-serving, but I love their lyrics. I love the stories that they tell. I love the stories that Slick Rick tells.
Oh yeah,
he's a great lyricist.
He's
a little old school.
For you.
Say it again.
Is he doing an audio book for you?
He did. Yeah, he did the version of the book that you read. He's the audio. He read the audio version.
You picked the perfect person.
Well, I didn't pick him. He did it and presented it to me as a gift.
Are you serious?
Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming.
Wow. So
what a gift.
Yeah, that's really a gift. So let me ask you this, Wendy. Okay. When I first saw you, I didn't imagine you as a white lady, right?
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, so hip hop is the majority are like black street guys from the inner city, right? Like, how did you navigate your way into the inner city with a bunch of black guys, so to speak? I mean, that's kind of weird.
I'm not sure I know the answer to that, because, you know, the one thing that bonds all of us in hip hop is the music.
That's right.
And I came as a fan of the music. So I was going to rap concerts and clubs and shows in the 90s when I was coming up. And that was my world. And I just made friends with so many different people of color that were at the shows, you know, male and female, not just black guys, but Latino guys. Because remember, I came up in New York. So my world was black and Latino. And what the common thread for everybody was the music. So we were all going to the same shows and going to the same events, and people would see me, and because I was one of the only white faces, I would stand out and I was memorable.
Yeah.
And I think that as I started helping artists, you know, the word of mouth spread and people were like, oh yeah, that's that white lady that helps rappers.
Yeah.
And I was doing educational seminars, panel discussions at ASCAP for free for artists. So everything that I was doing was helping the culture and helping artists. And I think that when you give love, you get a lot of love in return.
Definitely. And that's a wonderful thing, that you've been doing this for so many years. How long has it been now?
30 years. Yep.
Wow,
I
30
celebrated
years.
my 30th anniversary in March.
March. Wow. So let me ask you this, Wendy. What do you feel about the current state of hip hop, or do you feel anything?
You know, I'm a fan of the music, and unlike most of my peers and the people in my age group, I love the music. I realize that a lot of folks that have, you know, have been in this for a long time
Mhm.
don't like the change, but I started listening to rap in 1980,
Mhm.
and it changed by 86, 87. The music had changed from party rap and ABC rap to, you know, like Slick Rick storytelling and School ED, you know, street rap, gangster rap. I don't like the term gangster rap, but I'm
Yeah,
going to use it to make my point.
I got
And
you.
then in the 90s, it became about, you know, Black power and Black
Mhm.
nationalism. And then from there, when, you know, Jay-Z and Biggie came out in the early 90s, it got a little flossy and it became about popping bottles and
Mhm.
bad bitches in the club. And then, you know, it's always been growing and changing. So that's the one thing for me that was always consistent, because I've been listening to it for so long. I expect it to change. And because I expect it to change, I want it to change.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always go in a direction that I like,
Mhm.
but I respect and love the fact that it's constantly changing. And I love how many people are eating off of hip hop that aren't people that would normally be easily employable in other industries.
That's
You know,
right. That's right.
it's that side of it is really great. We've got so many entrepreneurs and we've got so many people that are from different backgrounds and different cultures and different financial status, you know,
Mhm.
different financial abilities. It's sort of this really cool melting pot, this mishmash
It
of
is.
people. And I think it's awesome.
It is. I've learned to embrace it myself because I came up in, I guess, mid 80s, early 90s listening to hip hop. And I kind of felt that way at one point where it was changed. I was like, nah, I ain't feeling this right now. But I've learned to embrace it and I respect it. I have another question. So if an artist, an up and coming artist wants to do business with you, what should they look out for exactly? What should they have in mind in order to do business with you to get their music out?
Right. Sadly, most people can't. We turn away more people than we can help. This is an industry with a lot of sharks and a lot of people that will take your money and then not deliver. And we're very against that. So I'd rather tell somebody, hey, I can't help you, I can't bring value, than to take their money and not deliver.
Mhm.
So when we do work with artists, they need to have a budget where we can actually help build their company and build their career.
Mhm.
And that usually takes somewhere around $250,000.
Okay.
And then from there, they've got to have great music, like music that can really reach a lot of people and be very commercially viable.
Mhm.
And then if it's commercially viable, they need to have work ethic, because the
Yes.
one thing that this industry takes is a lot of hard work.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Wow, man, you know what? I can see that the average person isn't just sitting on $250,000. So I get it. And
Most
the average
people aren't.
person doesn't have the work ethic that you explained as well.
Correct.
Oh man, Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't really have the music that can
Mhm.
go. They, it's an industry where it's based on opinion, right? So we
Mhm.
like some music, we don't like other music.
Mhm.
And every artist that comes into this thinks they're the best and they're great at what they do. Naturally, they think that. If
Mhm.
they don't think that, they shouldn't be in this industry.
Okay.
But there's a lot of music out here that can't attract fans. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of artists out here that maybe have a couple hundred followers and never get beyond that
Mhm.
because their music isn't reaching a large enough market to be financially viable.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a video with the guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of his name, but I believe he runs the digital radio tracker, maybe.
Mike Matthews
Mike
runs,
Matthews.
runs Digital Radio Tracker.
Okay, is like the current artist that you're working with. Are you serving them towards the radio, or how does that work as far as
Well,
like?
it really depends. Not every artist has radio music, right? So the artists that have music that can go to radio, that's the last thing that you do is go for radio, right? You FM radio. You shouldn't target FM radio unless you've got really deep pockets, and by that I mean a couple $100,000
Mm,
just to spend at radio.
mm,
And you need to have music that's really popping in the clubs or popping on the street or doing really well on the internet. It's
mm,
got to have some sort of a buzz to be able to take to that next level. The
mm.
great thing for us about internet radio today is like what college radio was for me back in the 90s.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
where the real hardcore hip hop heads hang out. So
Mhm.
if I've got music that's viable for the underground, and it could be, the dance underground or the lyrical underground or the club underground, but
Mhm.
underground nonetheless, internet radio is a really inexpensive way to reach those people, a couple million people in a 2-month period.
Mhm.
And the great thing for me about Digital Radio Tracker is I can see that the music is actually spinning.
Yeah.
Prior to DRT, I didn't take songs to digital radio because there's no way for me to police it and see that the programmers or the curators or the DJs are actually playing the song. They might just be taking my money. But the
Yeah.
great thing about Digital Radio Tracker is it shows me when it spun, at what time, on what internet radio station, what day of the week. So I can really track the fact that it was played for the money that I spent.
Okay. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
It's like what Media Base is for terrestrial, for FM radio.
Oh, okay. Okay. And it gets really expensive on that side, the FM.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I heard you
Yep.
earlier stated a couple of 100,000.
Yeah.
So do they normally do it in increments of well, quarterly, or how do they?
It's not quarterly, it's whenever you go for radio.
Mhm.
It just depends on how crowded radio is and how quickly radio moves. So you can't really control it. You hire an independent radio promoter and you
Mhm.
pay them, and then they're using their relationships to get the stations to add your song
Mhm.
into rotation.
So otherwise, it'll be what they used to call payola, right?
It's payola. It very
Yeah.
much is payola.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but you can't just walk up to like a radio programmer and say, here's $1,000, play my record. They won't do it because it's illegal. But the radio promoter has relationships where they can offer goods and services in return, or money in return, for radio play.
Oh, okay. So they're like a third party middleman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're very much
I
a
got you.
middleman.
I got you. Man, this has been great. I'm so grateful that you came on my platform, Wendy. Any last words before we get out of here?
I think the most important thing that I can tell any artist is to learn the music business before you jump in. I mean, don't get paralyzed by the analysis, right? Don't just learn and not do, but you've really got to learn how this works before you jump in, because it's an industry where you can lose a lot of money and opportunities that could have benefited you because you didn't know any better. So there's a ton of free information on the internet. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got an Instagram feed that is always talking about the industry. I've got a TikTok channel that's just there to educate artists. So go and do the research, and don't just trust what I'm saying. Go and listen to anybody that is teaching about the music industry. Go and learn from them and figure out what's real and what's not, and then do what's best for you, but come from a position of knowledge and power. Don't just randomly throw things out there because you want fame. It doesn't work that way. It's a lot of work, and it's really expensive.
There you go. I really appreciate you coming on, Wendy. I thank you for your time.
My pleasure,
I'm really
honey.
grateful. When I get things edited up, I'm gonna definitely send you the link.
Okay, perfect. I'm happy to post it on my social media. And thank you for having me. I love that you're doing this. I know that you're not making money doing this, because there's really no money in helping people. So I really love that you're doing this.
Exactly. And I thank you that you came on and helped me out. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Thank
Happy to do it.
You have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Get your high quality beats right now. We got them. Super affordable no matter what your budget is. We have WAV files, MP3s, and stems are available. So go ahead and click the link down below and get them right away.